everybody. Welcome. Here we go. Happy Thursday. It's Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Hot, sticky, humid downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're here in Manchester. And hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. Today is Thursday, June 9, 2022. The song that we heard to open up, that was Eli Howard and the Greater Good, and the track is called Wildfire, and that is the current single from Eli Howard and the Greater Good, and we, in about 10 minutes, are going to be speaking with Eli Howard live here on the program via Skype, and he is going to be on via Skype by way of our friend Billy Painter helping us out with that. So that's going to be nice because the phone line will still be open that way. So the studio line will be open. And so if you have a question or a comment or anything at all for Eli Howard while he is on the line with us, you will be able to interact that way. So we look forward to that. Eli Howard going to be joining us in a little under 10 minutes here on the program today. But I love that track, Wildfire. He's got a great voice. I love the guitar work. So really looking forward to speaking with him. He is from the Pacific Northwest, Oregon, I believe. So that's going to be really cool. By the way, I do want to remind you, of course, we are proudly sponsored by the Hop Knot, and today is Thursday, which means tonight is Trivia Night, which is an enormously popular feature there at the Hop Knot. They posted this on social media today. The sun finally decided to make an appearance today. We had some terrible rain earlier here. Outdoor dining is back at the Hop Knot. Join us for some great food, delicious drinks, and some fresh air. Don't forget Trivia Night with Bill Cini tonight and every Thursday. Like I said, that's a very popular feature. Bill does, of course, trivia every Wednesday on the morning show with Peter White. And then Thursday nights, you can see him live and participate at the Hop Knot. So it's a popular feature. Make sure you either you get there early if you're going to do that, or call ahead to make a reservation because those tables fill up quick. Eli, is that you?
Hello.
Success. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing, my man? Glad to be here.
Doing well. So if you're just joining us, we're talking with Eli Howard of Eli Howard and the Greater Good. And I am really looking forward to talking with you. So our mutual friend Billy Painter connected us. And I love your tunes, man. I listened to that song Wildfire, and I actually had to listen to it a few times in a row. That is really good. And I know that that's the current single that is gaining a lot of traction on platforms like Spotify, correct?
Yeah, it is, man. We've been pretty lucky, and sometimes a good song hits you. I wrote that with my friend Andrew Fulton from the band Magnolia Bayou. It's kind of a true story. In 2020, early September, my town, Molalla, Oregon, kind of got surrounded by this whole group of wildfires. It was kind of scary. And the house that I grew up in, one of the fires was headed like directly for it, and luckily my parents got to keep their house, but it was pretty hairy there for a minute, or actually like a week.
Wow. Yeah, I wondered as I was listening to it, and the lyrics are such that it really paints a picture. And I'm listening to it the first time, and I'm thinking, this sounds like, I don't know, it's weird. It's almost like you can kind of tell listening to it, at least I could. It sounds like it's a true story. Like this isn't something that you imagined, but this is based, kind of like Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. They actually saw what they describe in the song. They actually saw that happening. And you really, you really bring that to life with the lyrics in Wildfire. I would imagine where you are. I mean, is this, I don't know where exactly, you're in Oregon, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Is that a common, I mean, do you see that where you are in Oregon? Do you see that every year? Do you see wildfires?
Yeah, but I think this was one of the worst because we just had such a dry summer in 2020.
Yeah.
And then the wind was just happened to be blowing really, really hard for like a week.
Oh, okay.
And it was a really, really bad combination, and we just finally, I think a week later, we finally got some rain, but like the townsfolk had to kind of get together. We come from kind of a timber-oriented industry here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so a lot of the stoppage of the fires was through kind of almost like vigilantism. These people got their cats out and started making a fire line and stuff like that. And
Oh, wow.
you know, where there's crisis, it breeds humanity.
Mm-hmm. That's a good
And
insight.
I saw a lot of people kind of pull together, and you know, had it not been for the people of the town, I probably wouldn't. You know, I'm sitting in my parents' house right now talking to you guys.
Yeah.
And luckily I am, because there's a good chance it might not have been. And it was weird because, you know, I was 31, 32 when that happened, and I rolled up at about 3 a.m. and I saw my dad standing outside, and it was the first time in my life my dad clearly didn't have the answer on what we were supposed to do next, which was a little bit unnerving.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because I that's a good insight, because it's kind of like that thing where no matter how old you get, you kind of still have that sense of you look to your parents.
Look to the adult in the room, yeah, dude.
Right. And when the adult in the room is kind of shrugging, like, boy, this is really bad. I just don't know. That's unsettling. Wow. Yeah, I can only imagine, and that's part of why I'm so interested in that too. Is, you know, I grew up in the Northeast. When I was a kid, I would spend the summers in Chicago, but I've never been any one place for an extended period of time where that was a threat. You know, and it seems like as the summers get hotter and drier, that part of the country, it's it seems like every year it's these fires are just more and more severe. But wow. But
it's a yearly thing for sure. Just this one was a little bit closer to home than I like.
Yeah, absolutely. But you got a good song out of it. Do your parents like the song?
I don't know. I haven't asked them yet. I don't know if I gave them a copy of my record, and I think the shrink wrapping's still on it.
No kidding, really?
Yeah, my parents. I grew up in a house that, like, I didn't know till I was like a full-blown adult that people like listen to music while they clean the house and stuff like that. Like, my dad told me he's listened to talk radio since he was like 12 years old. I didn't grow up in a musical home.
No kidding. Wow. That's unusual in my experience. You know, I've interviewed a lot of musicians, and most musicians either their parents were musicians to some degree, or there was just always a lot of music in the house, and that's what tends to inspire, I think, people to, you know, music infects you at a young age because your parents expose you to it. So that's interesting. So neither of your parents really into music at all, it sounds like?
My mom only listened to music when she was driving in the car, and it was only top 40 country radio, which I guess was great in the 90s when I was growing up. I mean, my dad just kind of, I think he just thought music was just kind of like racket.
I'll be damned.
You know,
wow.
He liked to listen to talk radio and current American events.
Yeah.
Or I guess whatever echo chamber the radio was putting out at the time.
Right.
Whatever point of view that guy wanted to stuff down the listeners' throats.
Sure. So what happened? Because obviously something broke through. You didn't get that exposure to music from your family. So how did you get into music growing up?
Oh, when I was little, I know this probably sounds weird, man, but my parents always both worked really, really hard, and they always worked really long days. And we used to have to go to this daycare all the time. And I don't know why, but like this daycare had a lot of movies stacked up on this shelf, and I don't know what it was, but like, I think I've seen the movie Back to the Future like a million times. And when Marty McFly played Johnny B. Good and like saves the day and everything, I was like, man, that dude's awesome. Like, I want to be him. And it's like when the loser kind of like became cool. And ever since then, I was like, man, if I could just get a guitar in my hands, like I would be set for life. And I was hooked ever since then. And my dad's sister, she played piano from a young age, but she always lived really far away. Like she lived in Seattle.
Yeah.
So I only saw her once a year.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you're how familiar you are with Seattle. There's like this Paul Allen. He kind of co-founded Microsoft with Bill Gates. I think he's
okay.
He made this museum. It was like the Experience of Music project. It was kind of started as like a homage to Jimi Hendrix, and then it just spread out through all music.
Yeah.
It's like run under the Space Needle, this museum, and my aunt took me there like the first or second day it was open. We just happened to be spending a week in Seattle with my aunt, and she took me there, and I must have been 9, 10 years old, and that's when I really was like, whoa, like this is like wonderful. This is for me. Like I never really fit in with sports and stuff like that. And,
yeah.
You know, and then when I was 12, my dad did get me a guitar. So I mean, probably much to his detriment, but he there was this pawn shop that he would drive by every day when he was on his route for his work, and I got for Christmas I got my first guitar when I was 12 years old, and it was all over from there.
So that's when you started playing, 12, and then do you?
Yeah.
Now, what about singing? When did you sing right from the beginning as well?
Yeah, I guess I've always sang because I mean, I always liked music, so like in church and stuff like that I always sang, and you know, we had a Christmas program always in school, and I liked singing.
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked performing, I guess, but
yeah,
it took a while for me to get to the point where I was like, I wanted to do both. And I've only been fronting a band for a year. I was always just the lead guitar player in other bands that I played in.
Oh.
And then during COVID, one of the band I was in, we broke up, and I was like, well, if I want to do this, I can do it on my own terms. If I just front the band, now I can be in charge of whatever the hell I want. I can do or not do whatever I want.
Right.
And
yeah,
it's definitely not regretting it.
It's funny too that you say that prior to that you'd always just been the guitar player, because I was really struck by your voice listening to Wildfire, because I was like, you've got, I don't know, you just have a cool voice, and it's not easily identifiable in terms of, you know, a lot of people, you listen to them and you think, okay, that kind of sounds like this person or that person, but and I think, by the way, your voice is part of what helps deliver those lyrics in a way that paints that picture where I'm thinking, you know, this sounds like it's based on a true story, but I couldn't directly relate to your voice to anyone, which is cool, because it's like, okay, he's got his own sound, and no, I like it, and you know, I love the guitar work. I didn't just listen to that. Obviously, I listened to a bunch of songs. We're going to play after we're done talking. We're going to play "Piece of Work," which is a great song, and I really like I like the sense of humor that you bring to the lyrics in that. That's really good.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Are you guys? Are you on tour a lot? It looked like you've got a lot of dates on the website.
Yeah, we're always playing. The busier I am, the happier I am.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't have any other hobbies or like things that give me enjoyment, but playing music every time I'm happy. And so I do it as much as possible, and luckily my band is kind of in the same headspace, and I got a rockin' band, and we really believe in what we're doing, so we just try to stay as busy as possible and cover as much of the United States as we can within reason. You know, it's kind of tough right now. Gas is getting a little up there in price, and a little bit. Our van doesn't exactly get the best fuel mileage.
Oh yeah, that's tough with a big vehicle like a van. By the way, Billy Painter in the chat room says, I told him I thought he sounded a little like John Lennon. Actually, yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah, dude, the Beatles are great. I think about the time I must have been in 7th or 8th grade, I got a copy of Yellow Submarine.
Yeah. And
that was my introduction to the Beatles, which I guess is a really good way to get into it.
No doubt.
And Sgt. Pepper's. I got them both at the same time.
Oh, okay.
And I want to say I listened to Sgt. Pepper's first because there was that dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
I was like, man, these guys are great. Like, these aren't like when I originally thought of the Beatles, I thought of like the early, almost like poppy sounding stuff.
Oh, the mop top stuff. Yeah. Like, I want to hold your hand.
And then I hear that, I was like, well, these guys rock.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, the Beatles, I like the more and more as they went along, in terms of, I mean, I wasn't alive then, but when they started, obviously, but I just mean in hindsight, of course, I don't want people to think I'm like 100 years old, but no, but like, going back, I like the stuff they did toward the end better than the stuff they did at the beginning. Like the mop top era stuff it was groundbreaking at the time, but it's not really what, doesn't really grab me. But I love, like, Rubber Soul, I think is a great album, and I love the later stuff.
Yeah, and just what they did in the studio, and I mean, they're innovative. I mean,
yeah. Go ahead. Please. Who else influences you, Eli? Because you've got an eclectic sound. The songs like Wildfire has a very different vibe than, say, Piece of Work, and it's just listening to some of the other tunes on the and we should say the album is End of the Line, which is a relatively recent release, I think, right? Did that come out fairly?
Late February.
Okay, yeah.
Came out in February.
So it's pretty new. But yeah, the songs, they all have their own sort of character. So I'm curious. I mean, you sound like somebody who probably has a pretty wide mix of influences.
I very much do, and I wanted it to be very apparent. I think a lot of musicians kind of inadvertently pigeonhole themselves into this one corner. So then when they do something that, when they try to grow, they're almost discouraged by the listeners. So I wanted it to be very clear out of the box that I do whatever the hell I want.
Yep.
Because I like more than one style of music. I don't just like country. I don't just like rock and roll. I mean, I like disco. I'll listen to jazz. When we go down the road in the van, nothing's off limits.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge Leon Russell fan. I love gospel music. I love Skinner. I love Nirvana. I like the Beatles and I like the Stones. I like it all, man. There's not much that I can't derive inspiration from.
Yeah.
I was a huge folk music is huge to me. Like my mentor, his name's Dave Dickey. He wrote 2 of the songs that are on my album. He actually wrote "End of the Line," the title track. He's the man that taught me how to play guitar.
Oh.
And when I was, 16, 17 years old, he had me playing not only his folk songs that he wrote, but, he showed me about John Prine. He showed me about Neil Young. He showed me about Commander Cody and stuff like that, I was lucky to get that sort of tutelage under under someone where a lot of people, I got exposed to that at a pretty early age. Luckily, a lot of people don't get that,
right.
Kind of stuck with whatever you're raised by. And he liked everything. Like I started out, I was a big Hendrix and Zeppelin fan. That was kind of like, because I wanted to be a guitar player, so I wanted to be like Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
And my mentor, Dave's like, yeah, that's cool. Those guys are great. I listen to them. But, like, how about some stuff like this, too, with, like, lyrical substance? And, don't just pigeonhole yourself into one corner. He was very adamant about that. And I thank him for it.
Yeah, no doubt. That's cool. You use that word mentorship, and that's so important. I think probably most musicians don't really have someone who kind of sits down with them and helps guide them and makes sure that they get exposed to a lot of different kinds of things and have an open mind. I mean, yeah, most musicians I find like a wide variety of music. I certainly do. I'm a bass player, and I always say I don't trust people who only like one genre of music because that's just strange. But I think musicians generally like a lot of different kinds of things, but not everyone has the advantage of having someone really mentor them who's making sure that they're exposed to things that they might not have otherwise known about, or people they might not have even heard of necessarily, but who can be a very positive influence in terms of developing your musicianship as you go. So that's really cool. And it's cool, too, that he's got songwriting credits on the album. That's awesome.
Yeah, my album's actually, I don't know if on the physical copies on the CDs, if you open it up, the album's dedicated to him, too.
Oh, that's awesome. Very nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here doing this if it wasn't for that guy. He was one of the most important people in my life, old Dave Dickey. He's something else, man.
That's cool. Is he active? Does he work with other musicians, or what's his?
No, he was just a close friend of my dad's. He's just turned 70 years old.
Yeah.
So he probably could have been, if he had applied himself, I'm sure he could have been Neil Young or John Prine, but instead he decided to be a farmer and a dad.
Yeah. Well, we need farmers and dads, that's for sure. So.
Yeah, and I mean, he raised 2 pretty awesome kids, so I think he did what he followed his heart, and so I told him it's my mission that after both of us are gone, they're still singing his songs, if I have anything to do with it.
Yeah. No, that's great. Hey, by the way, you mentioned the van. And the cost of gas, of course, associated with that. But I saw something on your website when I looked at your site, and I don't know how recent it was, but you were the victim of a robbery of sorts?
Yeah. We were in Dallas, Texas, and we rolled up. We were in the middle of recording our second record. And, we rolled up one morning in Dallas, and our van and trailer was gone. We had Every single instrument was stolen from us, and none of it was recovered, other than our van. Our trailer is still MIA, and I mean, we were pretty stacked on instruments. All our in-ear monitors, our merch, everything was stolen.
Oh, that
was one of the worst days of my life.
Wow. Did the police ever find anything?
Well, they arrested a guy who had our van. I don't know if that's the guy that stole it, but they never did find the trailer. By the time they recovered the van, it was unhooked from our trailer and nowhere to be seen, unfortunately. So I lost some pretty sweet guitars. My keyboard player lost a Hammond B3 and a Leslie. I mean, on down the line. My bass player had this beautiful Cabernita candy apple red Fender bass.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, that's a bad day. Were you able to replace everything? I think I thought I'd seen something about you were trying to raise money to replace everything. Is that maybe that's an ongoing process? I don't know.
It's ongoing. I mean, I still have a long ways to go to get us back where we were. We can put on a show now. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And it was a good lesson for me in doing a lot with a little, because we don't have a Hammond anymore. We don't have I'm kind of at the mercy of whatever amp was given to me. I kind of miss my old deluxe reverb I used to have, and it was all in. We had flight cases for everything. I mean, just on and on. And
yeah,
my cowboy boots got stolen out of the van. I learned a lot about. That was a good test of how bad do you want it, because not only did we finish that tour, we added 4 dates to it. We honored every single date.
Yeah, no, that's good. And that's what it takes, no matter what happens, you keep moving forward. But I'm sorry that happened to you though. That's terrible.
It did. It sucked, man. But it was really, really horrible for about 2 or 3 hours. And then over the course of the remainder of that day, my phone died like 3 times with people wanting to help us. And I walked into Guitar Center that night in Dallas, Texas. I bought a Nord keyboard for my keyboard player and a stand. I bought a DI for my bass player to just run direct. He didn't even use an amp the rest of the tour, and we had enough gear put together to finish our tour, thanks to the band Kenny Fiedler and the Cowboy Killers. They happen to have their van and trailer in Texas, and he said, "Hey, my van is 100 miles away from you. Go get in it and finish your tour."
Wow.
And then the band Nick Sterling and the Nomads, they lent their van and trailer to us too for the last leg of the tour, and we honored every single date. And by the time we got back to Texas to make our way to Oregon, the company Flat Rock Trailers in Waco, Texas, stopped production and built us a trailer to order and sold it to us at a wonderful price. And now we have a brand new trailer. We've been able to replace some of our gear, and not all. We're not where we were.
Yeah.
But like I said, we got enough to put on a rock and roll show.
I'll be damned. That's really cool the way people stepped up and helped. And it's kind of one of those things. And I'm sure I'm not saying anything here that you haven't already thought about, obviously. But it's just one of those things where it's like, something so bad like that happens, and it's like, it's crushing. And then all these people come to your aid, and it kind of restores and maybe even improves your sense of faith and humanity, when
oh yeah, that was 2 or 3 maybe bad people that stole from us, and then like 100 people wanted to help us.
Yep.
And like I said earlier about those fires, in crisis breeds humanity.
Exactly. Yep.
I can't replace. I felt pretty low, but nowhere near as high as I felt when I saw the outpouring of help. I mean, left and right, people wanted to help us. I mean, right down to the place in Rockwall, Texas, that did all the repairs on our van and made sure we had it by the time we circled back to make our way back to the West Coast. I mean, people just came out of the woodwork to help us. It was remarkable.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's good. That's good. The story's got a happy ending, which is nice. And as far as touring, have you been all over the country, or are you like we talked about? It's tough right now with the gas prices, but I mean,
on that tour where we got robbed, we went clear to the East Coast and back.
Oh, no kidding!
We were at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, so we couldn't have been any farther from Oregon.
Yeah,
we played 2 dates in Georgia, a few in the Carolinas. We played a couple in Texas, Alabama, a couple in Louisiana. We went to Seattle towards the last leg of the tour. We went to Idaho. I mean, we're anywhere they'll have us, we'll play.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. Do you is it always a full band, or do you ever do solo shows?
I love doing solo shows because I'm a huge Todd Snyder fan.
Okay.
So I love telling stories, and when I play like listening room shows and I can kind of control the pace, I love that. So I love doing solo shows. I try to do them during the week when we try to reserve Thursday through Saturday for playing, and if I can do solo shows Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's I'm happy. The more I'm playing, the happier I am. So if I can go out and do solo shows and go out and talk to people and go play, I'm thrilled.
Yeah, that's excellent. So End of the Line is the current CD. Are you already, a lot of songwriters are already thinking about the next album. Are you thinking about the next one already, or are you focused on End of the Line?
We're in the middle of recording it when we got robbed.
Oh, that's right. You mentioned that. Okay. Wow. Yeah. So you're already on to the next one.
We got drums, bass, and keys tracked.
Okay.
For the next one.
Oh, cool. Excellent. You probably don't have any kind of an ETA on when the next one is yet, do you?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet, man. We don't have nothing yet.
Yeah.
I noticed a lot of bands on our circuit, they wait 2, 3, sometimes 4 years in between albums, and I had songs, and let's go work on them.
Right.
And I know a little bit more. I think I'm hitting my stride a little bit better as a writer, and
yeah,
I've experienced another couple years more of life since we did the last one. So
yep.
Why not? Plus, I love all facets of music. Recording's probably one of my least favorite things about music, other than getting robbed. But
yeah.
But to me, it's all like a conduit I can get out and go play these songs live.
Right.
That's where I really love, because our live show packs a punch. And I'm sitting on like 2 or 3 live recordings. I really want to do a live album. That's like my dream. It's been a bucket list item of mine for years, and I have one mixed. I just need to master it, and I really, really like. Of several people that have gone out and saw us live, they're like, "Man, your album's good, but your live show." And so it's on my list of things that I want to accomplish before I croak, is I want to do a live album.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, you've got a couple. I saw some live clips on YouTube, but yeah, no, that would be great. A live album, yeah. Well, you put it on the list. It's hard to do it all, and of course, when you're a songwriter, songwriters are always writing, and sometimes it's sometimes songwriters have more ideas than they have time to even record. But as far as the band, is the band that you record with, it's the same band you tour with, all the same guys?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I made it. It took a while for me to get the guys that I wanted, but I've always told them I don't want my band to be a revolving door. I don't want, I know some people that have like 2 or 3 drummers that they pull from. It's like, I got this guy this week. It's like, that ain't me. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
I want the same consistent guys, because for me, like, my live show is like 1-2 hour long song. We're a well-rehearsed, like, well-oiled machine. Like, we don't just play a song and stop and so on. And I don't think you can get that when you got fill-in players. Like, for me, it's just, I want everything to flow. And I think, we've been, after going on the road and doing this for, we're gone a little over a month. I think we can play our set in our sleep. Yeah. Like, when we got our van stolen, we got all our set lists stolen. We don't use set lists anymore. So I think we could honestly do this set in our sleep now.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have the same guys, when you're traveling around and you're touring, it kind of becomes like a family, and you don't want to be cycling people in and out, y'all get.
I don't. There's some people that operate that way, and if they make that work, that's cool.
Yeah.
But that's just, I don't want to.
Yeah. Y'all get used to each other, working with each other, traveling with each other, being stuck in a van with each other, and then to have to, bring somebody new in who wants to do that. So I think that's amazing. That's excellent, and I hope that continues with that stability. That is.
Thank you, man.
That is.
I like my guys.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There you go. Absolutely.
I want to start over.
Well, Eli, what do you have coming up? We have people who listen online from around the country. So do you have when's your next show? What do you have coming up that you want people to know about?
We'll be in Redmond, Oregon tomorrow at the Gambler 500 after party.
Okay.
It's about 100 miles from where we live. And then the next day we'll be in Bend, Oregon at a place called Silver Moon Brewing. And then the week after that, we're going to stretch out a little bit. We're going to hit Pocatello, Idaho, Thane, Wyoming, Whitefish, Montana, and then Gillette, Wyoming.
Okay.
And then we're going to go home, and then I think we got this event in Pendleton, Oregon called the Jackalope Jamboree, which is great, dude. I get to do a show with Reckless Kelly, which is a band I absolutely love.
Okay.
And where else are we going to be? I'm just kind of naming these off the top of my head, so forgive me if I sound out of order. We'll be in Ketchum, Idaho at a place called Whiskey's. And then we got a day off. We're going to go over to Highway 30 Music Fest, and I get to go watch Turnpike Troubadours. We aren't performing that night, but I wanted to go see Turnpike. I haven't got to see them yet, and I'm happy they're back together and for the right reasons. They got sober. It's not just that they're back together. It's like they're back together for the right reasons.
That's cool. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got a lot on your calendar, and of course, it's all on your website too. We should mention, and it's a nice. I'm kind of a website geek. I really like the website. I like the nice. It's got a nice clean layout, which I like. EliHowardMusic.com, and of course, you got the social media links on there and everything. So I suggest everyone check that out. Oh, by the way, too, where does the name? I love the name Eli Howard and the Greater Good. Where does the name? Is there any kind of a story with the name, or is it just something that occurred to you and sounded cool? Because it's a great name for a band.
Dude, I was listening to a podcast and I needed a name, and I'm really bad about like writing songs and stuff like that. Like I don't write music or come up with anything fantastic until inspiration's basically slapping me in the face. So I was like, well, I need a band name, but it'll come to me when it comes to me. Yeah. And I was listening to this podcast, and I think it was Rogan. He said like, this is, when you're doing something for the greater good. I was like, bingo, that's it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's it.
It's great. It's just such a cool name, man. I love it. All right. Eli Howard, thank you so much, my friends. We're going to let you go, and we're going to wrap up the segment with, I'm going to play this track, and I mentioned it earlier. I love this. I love the humor of it, too. Piece of work. Great song. But
that one's got probably my favorite story behind it of all the songs I wrote.
Oh, can you tell it? Do you have time to tell it?
I would love to. As long as my mom isn't listening. So my best friend hit me up on a Wednesday afternoon one time, and he said, hey, Saturday night, I'm going to come over. And he said, I'm going to bring some psychedelic mushrooms with me. Mm-hmm. I said, that sounds great, man. Let's do that. And he says, you're going to cook dinner. I'm going to bring these mushrooms with me. So, and I had the chord progression for that song, which usually I never write the chords first. It's always like a lyrics or a melody that hits me first, and then I just kind of build chords around that. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, man, all I got to do is write the lyrics to this song. I think I could be a millionaire. So he says he's going to bring these mushrooms over. I'm thinking, well, shoot, that's all that I'm going to need. I'm going to eat these mushrooms, and I'll be creative enough to just slip back into my back room, and the lyrics are going to beam to me in 5 minutes. Done deal. I got the song. So he comes over, and we eat, and he gives me these psychedelic mushrooms, and I eat them, and 45 minutes later, it becomes really obvious that I'm not going to be writing any songs that night. Huh. But instead, we watch the movie Avatar yeah. with all the aliens and then I took my dog for a walk. Yeah. And I found the meaning of life that night, and I was laying there. It was this big battle scene was popping out in the movie, and I was laying there on my couch upset with myself because I didn't write the song that I wanted to write, and I just said, man, you're not a work in progress, you're just a piece of work. And then I was like, bingo, yep. Got it. Yeah. And then a couple days later I wrote the song.
Oh, I love it. Well, hey, that's fantastic. And that's a much, to get a great song out of something like that is, much less traumatic than, like a giant wildfire that's threatening your parents' home. So that's good.
Yeah, that's yeah. We hit both ends of the spectrum on this album. We got a wide range of things that we touched on.
Right. That's fantastic. All right, Eli Howard, thank you so much, and of course, thank you to our mutual friend Billy Painter for connecting us.
Yeah.
We'll have to do this again in the future, and love the music. Keep going. It's great stuff. And like I said, I'm going to play a piece of work, but we'll let you go, my friend. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, man.
All right, man. Take care.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye. All right, Eli Howard, and we're going to play this, and then we'll come back. Gonzo is here, and we'll see what kind of trouble we can get into. But here it is. This is Eli Howard and the Greater Good. This is Piece of Work from the album End of the Line.
Kick a man while he's down. I ain't seen a bridge I couldn't burn to the ground. When it comes to problems, I ain't a stranger to one, but I ain't seen a problem that I couldn't outrun. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't squeeze blood from a stone. So you best not even bother. Rock bottom's where I call home. Bet I'm gonna leave you crying, probably gonna leave you hurt. I ain't a work in progress, I'm a piece of work. I come back from a few, passed out on the floor, scrape the bottom of the barrel, and then come back for more. I'm always on the run for another cheap thrill. I should probably quit, but I don't think I will. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't squeeze blood from a stone. So you best not even bother.
down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.